Let's start with the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Sunshine Law Notice. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform, being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this regular council meeting of April 11th, 2022 is available by call-in phone number or through web conference Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions, comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question or comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was included in a schedule of meetings, which was adopted by resolution number 2022-13 and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, the Hub, and the Star Ledger on January 6, 2022. Posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board in the municipal building has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Allison, may I have a roll call, please?
Council members: Commissioner Keith. Here. Paul. Here. Here. McHugh.
Here.
Neff. Rodriguez.
Here.
Okay, we're going to go straight to proclamations. We're going to start with Arbor Day. This is the Arbor Day proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our borough increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Joshua Halpern, Mayor of the Borough of Fairhaven, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 as Arbor Day in the Borough of Fairhaven, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And be it further proclaimed that I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. I, Joshua Halpern, hereby set my hand and seal this 11th day of April, 2022.
Very
Okay.
nice.
Okay. All right, let's move along to a workshop session on a request to post banners and or lawn signs for Love Where You Live Day on May 14th. I believe you guys and gals all have an email here in your packet. Does anyone have any questions before we move towards a motion on that? Anyone?
No questionless.
Does anyone have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, moving on to another request to post banners and or lawn signs for the potential Fairhaven fireworks on June 11th. Does anyone have any questions on the banners or the lawn signs?
Can we just brief quickly on the reusability of the banners? I think there was some conversation about them not having dates so we can use them in the future, or is that no longer the case?
I think these are different banners. Are these the banners for the link
No,
posts?
these are not for the light posts on River Road. These are for, we'll put them in key areas near Schlenker's Pond by.
Got it. Understood. I'll hold my powder. I don't have any questions on this.
Can I ask a question? And it actually, it's the same for the Love Where You Live Day lawn signs. Do we have an end time where they have to be taken down?
after the event.
So that's just a given, doesn't have to be memorialized.
No, I spoke with Michael about
Okay,
her
great.
request and we're in agreement.
Okay.
Anyone have any other questions before?
No, but I'm guessing more details about the Fairhaven fireworks event will be forthcoming.
That's correct.
Okay.
Anyone have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, moving along, we also have a request for a waiver of our ABC regulations in the parks. The waiver request was for regulations on June 11th from 7 to 10 p.m. during the fireworks. Per Chief McGovern and the Borough Clerk, who will list the appropriate resolutions on the April 25th agenda if approved. Does anyone have any questions on that waiver?
I do. I have a question about our liability. If we have people coming into the park with open containers or coolers, in the past when we had the foundation sponsored Fairhaven Day, we could actually control the amount of alcohol the best we could because we sold it. But now you have residents coming in that are going to be freely drinking and leaving. What is our liability as a borough for sponsoring an event like that? In the event there was ever an accident or an incident? Teresa, do you
Well,
have
you know, the
insurance?
borough's waived the alcohol policy in the past, and yes, we did have the beer tent that was being sold there. I believe it's probably fair to say that there was also, people did still bring their own alcohol to that event. But as far as, I mean, I'll check with Jeff and our risk manager, but, you know, the liability for the borough, you know, anyone can sue you, but, you know, the borough will do as best as they can to police the event. We'll have police officers there. We're not serving people. We're not, you know, encouraging them to drink. So, you know, I can't say that, I mean, Greg can pontificate more than I can. I can't, I mean, anybody can sue you, but the question is, you know, will our
Is there something else?
sorry, will our coverage, will our JIF actually cover us? And of course, what their coverage would amount to is they would mount a defense on behalf of the borough. Just like if we got sued if someone, you know, fell off a slide or got hurt in a rec event. I mean, you know, the borough has a decent amount of protections under the law as a public entity, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get sued. It's not going to mean that you wouldn't have to mount a defense for anything that happens in any event that we sponsor. You want to elaborate on that, Greg?
You have all my liability for serving.
I didn't
So
hear
if under the Dram Shop Act, so they were talking about. So if you're serving alcohol, you have responsibility once you get the license. Like I assume you had an outdoor or club license or special event license for the ABC for
we
the
did.
beer tent. And so if you're serving under that license, you have a responsibility not to serve visibly intoxicated persons. So like if you're at a bar, the reason that the flag, it's not a courtesy, it's a legal issue. They flag you because if you're visibly intoxicated, they can no longer serve you alcohol and they could be liable going forward in the Dram Shop Act. So you have longer liability. If you don't have a beer tent, people are just bringing their own. You actually have less liability than if you're actually serving.
Okay,
It's oftentimes why nonprofits are the people behind the license for the beer tent, because they have qualified immunity.
Okay, we would get a certificate of insurance from SurePoint, who was serving for Fairhaven.
Or someone who serves alcohol.
yeah, because
Or
yeah,
you
the
have Dram
foundation
Shop
always had
insurance.
extra insurance on that.
You get Dram Shop insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah, you pay a fee if you're for, you know, as a server.
Yeah.
But serving is the trigger for liability with alcohol generally.
I'd actually like to ask a question, Michael. Are we set on, for this potential day, 7 to 10 p.m.?
Yep.
For sure. So we don't need to ask for an earlier time, just God forbid the time changes or anything like
No,
that.
I talked to the chief today and he said he's happy with those times. He feels like fewer people will come, won't be as drunk. Encourage people not to come early, but you know, we'll do our best to, but he's okay with it.
I have a question. I won't assume, are there plans to have extra trash receptacles around so people can readily throw away any empty containers, whether it's food, drink, whatever it might be? Yes,
Yeah, I talked to, well, TJ and
great. Okay.
are there plans for cleanup on Sunday?
yes. with DPW, and then we're gonna try to get volunteers.
Further questions? Anyone have a motion to approve? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nope. Oh, I'm not opposed.
I saw
was
you
just
smile and
observing.
not say a word, and I got nervous. You were going to
Nope,
oppose
I
us.
was not opposed.
Okay.
I was just smiling.
Moving along, we have a proposed ordinance for bamboo and invasives. Wow, government works fast. let me tell you. Attorney Cannon has sent a sample of Bradley Beach's ordinance. You should all have it in the packet as well. Anyone like to discuss that ordinance?
I can start us off. Yeah, I agree with Betsy. I think this really responds to the situation we're confronting in Fairhaven. And thank you for bringing it to us immediately after discussion. I'll note you did everything on the same night. I'm very appreciative of that.
So, computer.
Since then, I would also like to thank Charlie. Bringing a very specific situation to our attention does help to sort of galvanize the focus of the governing body. But in the intervening weeks, I have outreach to the Environmental Commission and the Shade Tree Commission and the liaison to the Fairhaven Natural Area Advisory Committee, all three of whom have a position and have discussed the topic of invasives in the past. It's on the agenda for Shade Tree and Environmental Commission this month, and they will be forwarding their comments regarding the proposed ordinance for the bodies further consideration. I'm in favor of this. Now we'll just add that.
Favor for it.
Great, that's it.
I think it's great.
All good.
No, I'm certainly in support of this, and I ran into one of Charlie's neighbors the other night, and that neighbor's neighbor identifies rhizomes growing in their yard and runs over and digs them all up. So apparently we have a problem over in that area of town that is not under control. So the more people, I'm sure other council members have spoken to as well, the more you were identifying that you're not alone, unfortunately. But hopefully this is something that will assist in addressing this specific invasive.
And I just want to make a suggestion for your consideration. When it comes to the enforcement piece, the violation and penalties piece, considering, our current code enforcement officers' availability and expertise in this area, might we be able to, Greg, to add a section that the borough's tree expert would be able to assess a situation like this as well as the code enforcement officer? And maybe even have a provision that the expense tied to that, would be charged to the homeowner?
It's an excellent suggestion.
You want to call them in the other ordinance? Tree conservation officer?
Possibly, that brings a nice smooth bell in my mind, so I think you are correct there.
Is bamboo considered a tree?
No, I mean, I don't, I think your issue is more referring to the person.
But the preservation officer is worded in the tree preservation.
We could have the
ordinance
ordinance
would
deputize
have
them for this one.
an enforcement role,
Right.
and therefore might be suitable on these functions as well.
So Greg, I'm assuming he's gonna put something together for the 25th? So
Yeah, I can do that.
Fairhaven language?
Yeah, I have to come up, I probably have to come up with a different term, but I understand. Because it's not really an issue of operational manpower.
And
So, like,
also,
Bill could
and
be
then
both.
sometimes expertise,
They might have two different hats to do that, but.
You might be talking, hitting, multiple yards, and, they might have, just be better prepared to assess a solution that would make sense.
Great. Moving along, special meeting finalization, 2022 bond ordinance considerations. Want to confirm that date of May 25th at 7 p.m. Issues with that date.
Is that in person?
Is this the capital projects topic? Yes, okay. Might we call
We actually didn't decide.
Well, no, because you have other things that might go into a bond ordinance besides capital
it?
projects.
That's a good point. But might also be other ways of paying outside of a bond.
Paying for what? Sure, I think we're just trying to understand the full scope of anything and everything we might consider for a bond ordinance at that meeting. And then obviously there might be other sources of funding for any of the things that we're considering, yeah. We have a council meeting that Monday night, just so for people who
That's like,
care, it would be a Monday and then a Wednesday. And that would be via Zoom.
The other option then was we come in earlier
right,
than the council meeting, which is gonna be, was it a 5 PM start?
Yeah,
5:30 start?
5:30, whatever you want to do. if you want to
And we're
do it.
talking May 25th.
Our council meeting is May 23rd.
I'd rather do it in one night, and then if we need another meeting,
Can you guys get here on earlier on that day?
I would say that's fine, I would just say
Probably.
We
yeah.
should
I'll make sure. I
make
come.
an effort to have a lighter agenda, only because we do
Fair.
have a max.
What's the date on that?
And
May 23rd is the council meeting. Monday,
May 23rd?
I hate to carry agenda items because we max out, so I would say as long as we can
yeah.
Check with you.
target for a lighter agenda, that would
I think
be
if we've done it,
key for me.
I don't know if that's a finance committee.
No.
I don't. You know,
That's
I don't think it is actually. We kind of changed the cadence of that to once a month.
Right, so just, do we need a motion for that? We just agreeing
It's
on a
like
meeting date?
workshop, I think
Yeah,
we're just
So May 23rd at 5:30 PM, is that accurate?
Five.
You guys tell me.
I think 5 would be a little more realistic.
Okay. The 23rd at 5 PM. Everyone's okay with that? Good? Good, Chris? Yeah, good. All right, that's good. All right,
I'll memorialize that resolution at our next meeting, just to set it.
thank you. May I have a motion to approve the March 28th? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over something. Public comment on agenda items. We don't want to forget about that, for sure. If anyone has any public comments on agenda items only, please stand, identify yourself, state your name and address for the record, and please try and limit your comments to 3 minutes or under. Does anyone have any public comments on agenda items? Teresa, is there anyone with their hand up on Zoom?
I do not see any hands up. If anyone's watching on Zoom, if you'd like to be recognized, please raise your hand. We have 7 attendees, Mayor. And I do not see a hand.
All right, let's move along. May I have a motion to approve the March 28th regular and executive session meeting minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Roll
No,
call.
no, roll call.
Time out, roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Christopher,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Koch,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Anyone have any old business they'd like to share for discussion? Old business?
Did we finalize a date for the
Facilities.
facilities presentation?
April
That's in the
27th,
consent agenda.
April 27th.
7 o'clock, please. And
Thank you.
Everyone's good on old business? All right, let's move towards new business.
Finance, yes.
So Councilman Rodriguez is going to take first finance, and then he will report on borough facilities.
Sounds fantastic. We did not have a finance committee. Last time around, we had postponed it for a week or so. Our chair was not able to make it, and we wanted her to participate because we've got some significant things coming down the pipe. So I don't have anything else to report on finance. But the big item for finance coming to the table will be the pulling the bond together, and that will have to do with what this council decides they want to prioritize as far as buildings are concerned, which is packed in the facilities update, and then also other capital expenditures and other projects.
the budget's gonna be production.
Well, that will, and that'll remain unchanged, I believe, from the facilities, from the finance perspective.
I missed what Allison said, so I didn't hear you.
The budget's coming down the pipe as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, next
But,
meeting, we have
that's-
a
I don't believe
hearing
that'll be-
adoption.
Yeah, I don't believe that'll be touched by finance at this point. And then I'll just jump to facilities. We didn't meet, we didn't have any agenda items as we are preparing for the April 27th meeting, which we all know is in the consent agenda. We will have a presentation by our borough architect. I'm encouraging all of the facilities committee members to attend the meeting and we'll be on hand to comment if need be. Both the mayor and I have been in attendance of all the meetings as well. And so we're looking forward to having that presentation and answering all of the questions and actually moving the police department and the DPW and Bicentennial Hall forward.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Would it be possible for council members to have paper copies of all of the plans?
Yeah, Eli will send us a PDF of that ahead of time. We'll print 11 to 17s here.
Okay.
I
And
sent
maybe-
an email.
Yeah, maybe we could do that at least a full week in advance.
That would be good. I asked today for that.
Great, perfect. Or 2 weeks in advance. I'm just-
Chris,
We'll see.
what stage is the facilities planning at? And specifically, has there been any, have any drawings gone into production, meaning construction documents? Not yet.
No,
Okay.
we need the council's approval.
I'm happy to hear you
Yeah.
say that.
We want to get bid specs pulled together. We want to have you comfortable with getting those put out to bid so that we could try to get things going this year with the construction.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilperson Chris McKee.
Personnel committee has been very busy this entire year. We continue to be busy. Most of that is on executive session because it is personnel related, but lots of good things happening.
Thank you. Planning and zoning, followed by Parks and Recreation, Councilwoman Cox.
Planning and zoning are still via Zoom, but I expect that that's going to change soon. The next planning board meeting is April 26th, and the next zoning board meeting is May 5th. And lots of things have been happening with Parks and Recreation. This past weekend was the Easter egg hunt. Councilwoman Chris McKee was there, Mayor Halpern was there, and they also had the opening day parade for baseball, and it was the largest turnout that we've seen in a long time. So there were lots of residents who participated, which was great. This weekend, we also had the father-daughter dances on Friday and Saturday. They were great. Everybody had a great time. Coming up, new upcoming events, the mother-son dance will be Friday, May 6th and Saturday, May 7th. And it is open to grades 4, 5, and 6. The registration for this event will end April 18th. We also have coming up the fishing derby on Saturday, May 7th. There'll be 2 sessions, one at 8:30 and one at 10 o'clock. The event is free to all residents, but you have to register ahead of time. And you do that through an app called League Apps, Leag League Apps. And the link for that registration is also on the recreation website. For our camps, spring camps are underway. Summer camp registration is open for all camps, and that information can be found on the rec website. And lastly, we're all very excited that the community center playground, I was over there today, the apparatus has been removed and the new equipment will be installed later this week. It will need about 2 days to settle. So as soon as it's installed, doesn't mean that's as soon as you can use it. You have to wait a couple of days. But there'll be an announcement through rec when that particular playground will be open.
Councilman Cox, the swings are going back up too.
Oh.
The actual, they did a detailed inspection and there was no crack in the actual apparatus itself. It was only in the enamel paint. So if they're solid and the next couple of days, that's what those back up.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Moving on to police, fire, and OEM, followed by engineering and DPW, Councilman McHugh.
Nothing to report except for police fire. I spoke with them about the Love Where You Live Day. On behalf of Michael, is chief is all for it, whatever they need. He's happy to help. Speaking with the chief of fire regarding they want to bring a truck for the fireworks they have traditionally. Get back to the next meeting, and engineering DPW, Councilwoman, do you want to take that one since
Certainly.
at the meeting?
We
We
met.
mostly, and we mostly were dealing with manpower analysis and the
That's
workload
what it was.
DPW and
Yeah, the committee is working to carefully assess the capacity of the DPW with a special consideration for maintaining and caring for all that we talk about Fairhaven. And, I think it's a process, but it is.
and it is on executive session and also.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Cole, you can follow up with Borough Communications and Community Outreach, please.
The Outreach and Communications Committee is hard at work. We're going to be meeting actually Wednesday this week, met last month. We are continuing to encourage people to sign up to receive Borough information that comes via email, constant contact. Betty Ann is very, very good at capturing information, and the database has swelled from what was for many years 1,500 contacts, and we're now up to 2,146 contacts. And the click rate is about 64%. So I think people will find the information useful. And we're going to continue to really encourage people to sign up so they can receive that information. We're also going to take a dive into the needs assessment for meeting, meaning we've talked briefly about the need for technology and equipment. There's been discussion amongst some of the chair people with the commissions about what kind of support, whether it's for hanging things up or handing out maps or having a screen or the ability to project things for the meeting. So we'll discuss that to see what sort of feedback we can provide to both the facilities committee and then also as we continue to look for proposals to upgrade our ability to do effective hybrid meetings here. I'll just say for the Environmental Commission, we can look forward to their annual report at our next meeting, presented by Mr. Ralph Lindrum, who will be joining us. Green Team has a composting workshop on May 2nd at 7 p.m. over at Bicentennial Hall. And May 14th, Love Where You Live, also at Bicentennial Hall from 10 to 2. And I think just to conclude, the tree preservation ordinance is getting some professional review at your direction, Mr. Gannon, and maybe that will be here next month for the governing body to workshop, perhaps. Rough timeline.
Correct. I don't want to speak for the other.
I understand. But perhaps before the end of next month.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mayor, if I could add just two more things.
Sure.
The right here in Nashville area will have its volunteer days immediately after Arbor Day on Saturday, April 30th and Sunday, May 1st from 9 to 1. We generally have a sign up, but no need to necessarily sign up. Please come and pull some vines for as little or as long as you can. Gloves will be there. And other tools and free tools, and it's really a fun opportunity and definitely a good feeling of accomplishment to rip vines out of trees. So if you haven't done that before, please join us. And then I just wanted to tack on one more thing on Councilman Koch's rec report. going to be, I've received a lot of feedback that people were asking about the opportunity to host dance events for younger grades. And many people are planning their own one-off events because the grades shifted a little bit based on COVID misses and that sort of thing. So there will be a discussion at the next rec committee meeting to see if there will be an opportunity to host dance events for younger students in the fall possibly. So that discussion will happen. I don't know what the answer will be, but in case you were considering planning one of those events or attending one, just know that there may be another opportunity in the fall.
And may I say our next rec meeting is tomorrow night?
Yes. Yes.
We're gonna move along now to introduction of ordinances. You should all have a packet there. We're talking about amending salary ordinance number 2021-05 into 2022-02. Does anyone have any questions? Before we vote on this? I have a motion.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Chris Murphy,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Koch,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance hearing and adoption will be held at our April 25th meeting. Moving on to the consent agenda, we're talking about resolutions 2022-101 and 2022-109. My first question is, does anyone want any of those separated? Does that sound like it? My second question is, anyone have any questions on the consent agenda before we vote on it? We're good. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Chris Murphy,
Yes.
Koch,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Moving along to the department reports from March 2022. A motion to accept the reports as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Moving on to go to the borough. Please stand and identify yourself by clearly stating your name and address for the record. Please observe a time limit of 3 minutes if possible. Anybody like to make a comment based on the go to the borough?
I love hearing myself speak. I just wanted to say thank you all, Tracy. All of you really for taking a look at this so quickly. And yeah, I had Ralph Wyndham come to my house and took a look at it, and they've all been excellent source of just someone who's been a support, so I just want to thank all of you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. If you hadn't come to the meeting, this wouldn't have happened. So, thank you.
Just maybe more slowly.
Else? Teresa, is there anyone on Zoom?
The Zoom would like to be heard on the borough, please raise your hand.
Okay, we are going to move into executive session. Formal action will not be taken.
Not
Reading
even
that.
2 seconds.
Let's go. Let's go right in.
Continue to take a 5-minute.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, adjourning at 10:06 PM.
Mayor Grants.